Most high school passing offenses get bloated quickly with new concepts, new words, new tags. The call sheet and the playbook can get cluttered fast. Today I'm going to show you the simple tag system that I use in my offense so we can run the same concept many ways without overloading our players. Let's dive in. Now, I've coached in all kinds of passing offenses. We've told every individual receiver what route to run. We've had one-word concepts where each assignment, each route is built in, but I prefer a more pro-style approach that's simplified for the high school level. And the foundation of that is tagging one receiver for a concept, and then based on the other receiver's relation to that receiver, they know what route to run. I'd had these ideas before this playbook leaked. This is a picture of a Shanahan install from, I believe it's the 2021 49ers, and you can see these exact rules over here, and this is really how we describe our passing concepts in these types of offenses. We've got our rules, the tag in this chop concept. The tag has the China route, the inside receiver has the through route, the outside receiver has the Dover, and we can see that in these concepts over here throughout the page. So right here, they have 3 scat, Y choice, H chop. So we're looking at the chop part of this play. Who's our tagged person for the chop concept? It's the H, the running back. He's on the China route. Who's the inside receiver? That's not the H, that's the F. He has the through route. Who's the outside receiver? That's not the H, that's the X. He has the Dover route. Here down below, we've got Z chop. So the Z is going to have the China route. Who's our inside receiver here? That's the X. He's on the through route. Who's our outside receiver here? That's the F. He has the Dover route. So that's really a look at where these concepts come from, but we're going to take a look at some more simple concepts that we run at the high school level and how it applies there. So here we've got regular tight end trips. We're going to run one of my favorite concepts out of this formation. We've got F sail. Again, our tagged receiver is the F. It is sail, so F sail, he is going to run the sail route. On sail, the outside receiver has the blazer route. That's going to be our Z. And then the inside receiver has the flat route. Our inside receiver on the sail concept here is the Y. And one of the ways that we can make it a little more simple at the high school level is including the backside with this as well. If you wanted to kind of rewind and go back to the Shanahan version there, they had a separate concept on the backside. It was choice chop in the examples, most of the examples we saw. But here we're just running sail. So we've got our X on the backside basic. This would be a 6-man protection concept for us. So we're going to check the running back over the ball. But where we really are able to multiply this idea is when we can tag different receivers. So we just ran F sail. Let's run Z sail here. So now our Z is on the sail route because it's Z sail. Then who's our next outside receiver? That's the F. So the F is going to be the receiver on the blazer route. The Y is still our inside receiver, so he's still on the flat route. The X is still backside, so he's still on the basic route. Again, 6-man protection. Running back still checking over the ball. Here we've gone from a regular flood concept with F sail to now we have switch releases. Don't have to stop there. We can still run Y sail. So now we're running Y sail. He is running the sail. Who's our outside receiver? That's the Z. He's going to run the blazer. And then who's our next inside wide receiver? That's the F. And for me, whenever we have somebody who's on a flat control route, we're running a true flat route. If we're in the core, meaning we're tight end, we're a wing, we're a fullback. If we are outside the core at a receiver position, then we're going to run a bubble. And that's just an automatic because it mirrors our pre-snap RPO game. The X is still our backside receiver. Running back is still in the protection. So it's all based on who is tagged, who's inside, who's outside, who's backside. So we've multiplied this concept 3 different ways. We got F, Z, or Y sail without having to have a bunch of different tags. We're just tagging one receiver for each concept. That's a drop back concept. Let's take a look at a quick game. Just keeping the formation the same. I like to run F stick out of this formation. On stick, we're running F stick here. The tagged receiver is going to run the arrow route. That's what my version of the stick route is the arrow route. The outside receiver is still going to run the blazer. This time he is alerted. He's not the number one in the progression. That's what the star up there is for. Our inside receiver is still going to run the flat route. Change this because he is actually the first read in the running back. Still in the protection. We're going to keep this a 6-man protection quick game concept. And we still have our one receiver on the backside on a backside basic route. So a similar concept here, and this is another way that it kind of multiplies, at least just with the passing concepts that I like, is pretty much our tagged receiver is running the primary route. Here, that's the arrow route. On sail, it's the sail route. On cross, it's the cross route. If I'm the outside receiver, then I'm running the blazer route. Whether I'm the outside receiver here on stick, I'm the outside receiver in the past on sail. If I'm the inside receiver, I'm running the flat route. If I'm the backside receiver, I'm running the basic route. That's just how I've developed my system, and it's consistent with how I teach the quarterback as well to read his progressions. But the primary idea, again, is I'm tagging one receiver, and then the other receivers am I inside, am I outside, am I backside. That tells me what route. So this is F stick. Again, we can see this translate here to Z stick. So our Z is now going to be on the arrow because it is Z stick. Our Y is still the inside receiver, so he is still going to run the flat. Who's the next outside receiver? That's not the Z, that's the F, so he's going to be the one running the blazer. Still have our H in the protection, still have our X backside on the basic. That's F stick, Z stick. Now we'll take a look at Y stick. So if it's Y stick, our Y is going to be on the arrow route. From inside the core, that's more of a vertical route. Outside receiver now, that's the Z, so he's going to be on the blazer route. And then again, the F is in the flat, so as a flat control receiver outside the core, he's going to run a bubble. This is a good bit closer to maybe more of an air raid type of stick concept, where the number 3 receiver is on that stick route, and then number 2 for the F here would generally be for the air raid guys on a speed out. So this isn't necessarily a way that I would prefer to run this concept with how I teach the quarterback and how I teach our receivers, as far as the F being on a bubble route. It doesn't quite put the defenders in the kind of conflict that we look for, but it is possible to get there. Maybe we see a certain defense that this concept would attack. This is easily attainable by going Y stick. We don't have to add a bunch of words or add a bunch of different tags to get where we want this concept to be. It's just Y stick instead of F stick or Z stick. That's not to say that we can't add tags to switch up some of these receivers a little bit. But before we get there, if you want to download a free PDF of all these concepts that we're covering, I've got it in a link in the description below. It is totally free, so be sure to check that out. But those are kind of the base rules for tagging concepts. That would be where I start in the spring. What are our base concepts going to be for the year? What are the base tag rules? And then we can start switching it up. We can start adding maybe a backside concept like we saw with chop earlier, having choice on the other side, or we can make a tag to swap the inside and outside routes within a concept. Taking a look at what that might look like, a really good concept that I like off of this would be Y sail. And exchange is the word that I use. I got that from the McVay system. That's what they call it whenever they're going to cross block a screen, so the receivers are switching, but switch is a formation tag, so I don't want to just use switch. We're going to run Y sail exchange. It's still Y sail, so the Y is still going to run the sail route, and exchange is going to swap the assignment rules for the inside and outside receivers. So now the outside receiver is going to run the inside route. The inside receiver is going to run the outside route. We are on Y sail exchange here. The Z is going to run the inside route, which puts him in the flat. As an outside aligned receiver, that's going to be a smoke screen. That leaves my F to be on the outside route, which is the blazer route. Here we've essentially got a slot fade type of concept with a sail replacing the intermediate area to create the flood concept. This is a really great concept if we get somebody biting on the Z smoke screen at all, and really attack that deep to intermediate area to the trips. Then the last one that we'll take a look at is Y stick exchange. So again, it's Y stick. He's the tagged receiver. He's going to run the primary route. That is the stick route here. We are exchanging our routes. That again is going to put the Z in the play side flat. Our F is going to again run the outside route as our exchanged inside receiver. This is a pretty good way that we can get to what a lot of coaches call the shock concept. Steamer in McVay's, that one has more of a hitch with the Z right here. Then we've got the slot fade and then a stick route from the number 3. But we've taken one concept here, stick. We've tagged one receiver with it and made one tag to the route, and we've got almost an entirely different concept. The quarterback's not going to read it any differently, but it's a concept where even McVay and these other pro style, they call it a totally different concept, and we can get there with just one tag to a concept that we're already running and running proficiently. Here's our PDF. This is what we did today. We've got one concept here. We've got sail. These are our tag rules. Our tagged receiver has the sail route. Who's inside, he's got the flat route or the bubble route. Who's the outside, he's got the blazer route. Then we have our automatic backside basic. That's for all my passing concepts. I've got it drawn up for all the different receivers that we tagged, and this is such a win for the quarterback because, like I said, I've coached in a bunch of different offenses and I study a bunch of different offenses, and we don't have to have a bunch of different concept names, families, buckets, etc. We have sail. Sail is how we get to flood. Even the McVay tree, they've got sail, they've got boat, they've got yacht, they've got cruise, skipper. They've got a bunch of different terms that go for different flood concepts. I don't want my quarterback having to think about hearing a word, receivers having to hear a word, what's different about this word than that word. We know sail. The quarterback runs sail regardless of F, Z, Y sail. He knows his progression for sail. So we've got sail here, got rules for sail. Also have rules for stick. Again, it doesn't matter whether it's F, Z, or Y stick. Looking for the flat route to the arrow route, and then we can hit the whole shot against cover 2 if we can wreck. Then with one tag, exchange, we can switch who's inside, who's outside, while still tagging the receiver we want to run the primary. So that's how we multiply our passing game without multiplying our concepts. We teach tagging one receiver, we have relational rules, and then we can use tags like exchange if we want to add a twist to the concept without creating a new concept. If you want the PDF of everything we covered, it's free and in the description down below. And if you want more thoughts on simplifying your offense, we talked about simplifying our passing game in this one. I have another video where we talked about simplifying personnel groupings and simplifying things like who's on and who's off the ball. You can click the screen to watch that video. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.